Hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer Bradley, Jin Shin Jyutsu for Your Animal Companions faculty member located here in Lexington, Kentucky. And there's a number of us in Kentucky. So I'm going to put in the chat just to have it here for you all. And I'll put it in at the end again in case there's more people who come. Some information about us all. There's Adele's website and a link directly to all the faculty members so you can learn about us. And I believe you can connect to people's websites that way, and some information about where to find me too. So I want to get that housekeeping out of the way. And because not everybody is seasoned Jin Shin Jyutsu practitioners and students, some people are here for the first time, I like to just give a little quick bit of background about Jin Shin Jyutsu before we really dive into what I want to talk to you about today, which is puppies. So I am going to share my screen. Okay, and just start from the beginning. So to give you just a quick overview, what on earth is Jin Shin Jyutsu? So it is the creator's art through the person of knowing and compassion. So that can be me as a practitioner for both humans and animals. That can be you working with yourself or working with your family, friends, and your animals. So it is a light touch energy harmonizing therapy, has some similarities to acupuncture and acupressure in that we have specific ways we think of the energy moving through the body. Rather than using needles on 300 plus locations in the body, we use light touch on 26 main pairs of energetic centers. They're about the size of your palm, spherical, they have a life of their own. But if you were an animal, they would be the size of your hoof or the size of your paw or your claw. So working with animals, it's great because it's easy for us to reach them, touch them, and find them. And different than acupressure, with Jin Shin Jyutsu, we just use very light touch. So I always like to tell people, put one hand on top of the other, and that is the amount of pressure that is used. There is no rubbing. A lot of people know about pressure points that you rub and push and massage. We think of that as kind of disrupting the energetic flow. When you have two wires that get close together, zip, the energy connects between the two. And we think of our hands like a pair of jumper cables on your car battery. All we're doing is sparking the energetic system. The body of yourself or of your dog, cat, or horse knows what to do. And the results are unique to every being. So we have these textbooks that we work with. We have the 3 self-help books written by Mary Burmeister, 1, 2, and 3. And then we have Adele's text, where she took the information from Jin Shin Jyutsu self-help and applied it to animals. Thank you, Adele. And so her textbook is available on her website. You can get it on Amazon. She also has some worksheets and things that you can be using as you work on your animal. And then here is our group of instructors. There's a lot of us. Some of us come in pairs, like Jude and John, and Amy and Tate. Amy and Tate are fluent in Spanish, so they're excellent that way, but you can find out more on Adele's website about everybody. Let's take a quick look at where these energetic centers are. We are going to be using 2 pairs tonight for working with the animals. They're in joint areas, they're places that look familiar. If you look on the back of this human and you know someone who has experienced fibromyalgia, you know that these are the trigger points. Those are energetic centers that have become blocked and locked, basically to keep our house from blowing up. And then the animals have the same thing. These are the energetic centers for a dog, and notice that they're numbered. We won't go into a lot of detail as to why they are. I'll talk about it as we work with the two pairs, what they mean. And then the cat, they're in the same location, size slightly different. And then here we are with a horse. So that is my overview. And I am going to stop sharing my screen, because now, before we work with our animals, it is so important that we are centered ourselves. They can feel so sensitively what's happening with us and our energy. So for us to do our job and to really help the animals, we can use the energetic centers on our body to calm ourselves. Tonight, we're going to be talking about profound security, safety, security, containment, a sense of self, separate from others in a nurturing, positive way. So let's do it for ourselves. We're going to take our hands, we're going to place them in our armpits. And when you do this, no matter how big or small you are, some people are broader shouldered, broader chested, maybe they're weightlifters, some people are more narrow. So you don't have to go all the way to the back of the body. Just tuck in, just in the armpit, wherever is comfortable. And really the pressure of your arms on your hands are what are going to keep it in place. And let's do my favorite thing. Let's exhale. Exhaling helps us let go of what's been happening in our day. And the inhale naturally takes care of itself. Now, if you've had an especially hectic and anxious day, you can add something to this. You can take your left foot, and obviously you can't see mine, so I'm going to pretend these are my feet. This is my right hand. This is my right foot. This is my left foot. Got to do the backwards thing. Okay, you are going to take your left foot and just drop it on top of your right. Basically, so you're right here above the ring and pinky toe, right in that area. This isn't about the profound security, but what we're doing is back here at the back, it's about total peace and harmony. We're opening our lungs. We're helping calm that overactive heart rate. And with our left foot on top of our right in whatever way is comfortable, we are calming chaos. Let's exhale. It's not surprising that when people used to have what they would call a mental breakdown, they would put their arms into a white backward shirt and tie them around their underarms. They thought it was to keep them safe from hurting themselves and others, but what they were doing is helping the body calm. So this area at the underarm, or right behind the arm, is one of the locations we're going to be using for profound security. The other location, and you can hold back here both hands, or you can do one side and the other, I'll show a couple ways, is you will be holding right here at the back of the hip. You can put your arms with your fingers touching your body, or what I like to do, I'm a lazy Jin Shin Jyutsu self-help person, I just put my hands on the back of my chair and I lean into them. This energetic location, or what we define as a safety energy lock, safety protects us, our body. Energy lock can lock up if we need its help. This location is about wisdom. Now for animals, this is the top of the hip facing up. And we'll see that. And for us, we decided, so they're connected to like that heavenly wisdom all the time. Well, we decided to stand up straight. And in doing so, we disconnected. So it takes a little more for us to find our wisdom, connecting to all that is in this way, because we are trying to find our wisdom on the earthly plane, but that doesn't always work so well. So if you want to try this, this is what I like to do, and this is what we're going to do for our dogs. You are going to take your right arm, so I'm wiggling my right arm, and you are going to slide it behind your back. So actually your fingertips are touching the back of your left hip, and then your right hand is tucking under your left arm. So I am like this. I do this in bed at night. It's not shown exactly in the self-help books this way as a practice. But for those of you who are more deeper in Jin Shin Jyutsu, this is what is described as reversing and increasing of first depth. And I just love this. And for those of you, and if you don't know these terms, don't worry, it's not going to hurt you or stop you from working with your animal. Reversing, increasing of first depth helps with profound security. First depth is on the level of energy of the surface of your skin. So it can help itching from the outside, bug bites, things like that. But it's also about containment. And if you're new to self-help, you might notice a little pulsation in your fingertips. And we like to wait until they match up on both sides and keep going. Okay, I'm going to hold here one more time. I'm going to exhale. When I worked at the Cancer Center at the University of Kentucky, I gave that one to all the people I served because they spent so much time in waiting rooms with nervousness and tension, and it really helped them breathe and get themselves relaxed and feeling more secure. So now I am going to share my screen again, and we are going to talk about what we're doing tonight. So that hold that we just did, and it is in text 1 of the main Jin Shin Jyutsu textbooks, reversing, increasing first depth. Here's what it does for you. So for the animal, we are going to be holding, and this is showing the left-hand side. behind the front leg. So the front leg behind the left leg in the front. And then at the same time, we're going to be holding the opposite hip. And you can try both sides. It's a really, really easy hold to do. I like it because I can do it with the animal standing. I do it a lot for mares and foals. If I have a foal I'm going to work with, this is a hold I do for the mare. And generally what happens is the foal will come up to the mare, lean up against her and receive the energy that way, because sometimes they're very flighty when you first meet them, but they will take the energy from the mother. So it's creating safety and security. It also helps a pet feel aware of where it is in its placement. And you know, sometimes with puppies, and particularly I'm thinking of puppies, even if a puppy in a group of puppies within their family, there's still stuff that goes on. There's the runt of the litter. Maybe one gets pushed aside and has trouble being able to eat. They don't necessarily feel safe and secure. And so this one I find with any puppy is really helpful. So I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but I have been putting a lot of stuff down there about working with a new puppy. It's a Vizsla puppy that came in, and I had their owner start doing the safety security hold from the very beginning. And when you're holding a puppy, it looks like this, and I'll show you a picture next. It's like the way a mother holds a child, behind the arm and the front, and then kind of cupping the hip. So if you have a baby, this is great to do for children, babies as well. And so here this is. We've got behind the leg in the front, and then the opposite hip on the back. That's that iliac crest, that bony structure there at the top. So in this picture, I'm showing you where these two locations are on a dog. So the picture on my screen of Grace, the brown dog, I'm right there tucked behind her arm. I like with the dogs, oftentimes I will sit at their spine. That seems to be a nice way, especially if they've laid down, for me to reach over them in a nice, comfortable way, but they feel that they can easily get up. I'm not in the way of their feet. And then my other hand holds the top of the opposite hip. And this is Maggie. This is a Great Dane that I have worked with, and she had hip issues. This actually really was comforting and comfortable for her hips as well. With a puppy, the more you can do this hold, the more comfortable and safe and secure they feel. So the Vizsla puppy that I've been working with, on its 5-hour drive home from West Virginia, where the breeder lived, I had the new owner doing this hold the entire way home. And then I did some other things when she came, and they've continued to do this hold primarily when the pup is asleep, because this is an active dog now, and you get scratched and chewed on and all those things. I like to work with puppies when they are resting, if you can. That's a really, really good time. But the last time I went to visit this puppy a couple of days ago, when the puppy had kind of had enough of the group, running around with us, she went into the other room. Now she is 10 weeks old, and put herself to bed. She got right into her crate comfortably. There was still noise and animals and things going on, but she knew her sense of self. She knew where she was. She felt safe. She felt comfortable. She wasn't afraid to go into the other room alone, and she got into her little crate and went to sleep. So I really felt like it was this Jin Shin Jyutsu, and especially particularly this hold, that had been really helpful for her. I also did a lot of the centering hold, which you probably have seen in Adele's book. It's one of the first things that we do, center of the chest with the other hand over the top of the shoulder blades. Also creates, it helps with the breath and does a lot of things for security and things as well. But I found that this one, holding behind the shoulder with the opposite hip, is really, really helpful. So I learned about this from working with babies at the University of Kentucky in the working in the ICU for infants, primarily infants who were having withdrawal, things from being, within a mother who had addiction issues. But then as I got really interested in this, I worked with a breeder of these doodles, and I would work with the entire group. And this was one of the main holds I did. So you'll see me with the pup, up against my chest, great little time, easy to put your fingertips right in there. And at the time when I was doing this, there were 8 puppies in this litter, and woo, they were busy. So basically what I ended up doing is spending a couple minutes with one, and then they'd all start running around. I put that one down, she'd get relaxed. I'd pick another one, would climb up, I would do another one. And usually by the time I got to about the 4th one, everybody was knocked out. Because when you're working with groups, they all start to feel the energy. So, and then on the other side, you can see how a little closer up, a little with the puppy lying down. I would just tuck my finger, and really with the puppies, it's so small, it's almost like just my fingertips underneath the back of the arm with the opposite hip. So this is really such a wonderful, wonderful go-to for puppies. Again, with you can do it with kittens, great with them too. It's also great for rescues. We have some other things we do for trauma, and I've talked about that before. This makes them feel really safe also with where they are. The trauma holds that we've talked about help kind of not erase, but help move through what's happened in their life. But this gives them a sense of feeling one with themselves. Because it's the same depth of energy as if you have the Jin Shin Jyutsu for animals book, we have the stomach flow that we like to use for the animals, and for the dogs and cats and horses primarily, because normally with a human, we're up here at the cheek with the collarbone. So we can do this. But this can also do the same thing. It can help then with things like chewing and biting and barking and things. This is another way to the well. But primarily for me, I think that it has the most to do with feeling of safety, security, and connection with you. And as I said before, if you are a horse person, and you work with mares and foals, this is a great hold to do when the foal is in utero. And you'll notice when I do this with the mares who are still pregnant, when I hold this, she gets very relaxed. And also the foal within her oftentimes will start to move and shift and then slow down. And then I have noticed, I don't know if you're around mares and foals very much, but when they bring them in from the field after they've halter trained the foal, oftentimes, when they bring the foal in with the mare, oftentimes the handler will do this hold unconsciously with the foal. They'll hold behind that front leg and kind of guide them along with the back. Sometimes they'll have the rope kind of attached in a little different way to kind of feel like they have a little more handle. But I've noticed that they are just unconsciously doing this hold with the foals. So I think it's fabulous. It's one of my favorite things to do. And even a dog, like I see Jamie's got her dog with her. So doing this hold for your dog at any age, any dog that has not felt safe, dogs that are food insecure, all of these things, a feeling that they are okay. This is one of my favorite holds. Does anybody have any questions or any thoughts you might have?
I just wanted to say, this is Eileen, and
Hi,
I
Eileen.
just wanted to say, this has been wonderful. I loved your explanations, and I wasn't aware of the security and all, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, I feel like I was so lucky that I got to spend so much time with little ones in the hospital. And I used to do the same hold for young children as well, holding, sliding underneath one shoulder and then slipping underneath to the opposite hip. I give this to parents all the time for kids who, are afraid to go to bed at night. I'll have them do it while they're reading books. It's just so fun to see how the work transfers to every being. There's just such a connection between us all. And I think that's the gift of Jin Shin Jyutsu. That's the gift that Adele has shared with me that has really expanded my life in the way I think about people and all beings. So this is a really fun one to try. So even if you have children, grandchildren, it's a great one to try too with the babies. Let's get them off to a good start. They say the first 3 years of an infant's life, if you can do this hold, you can make profound changes of bringing everything into balance. And my feeling is it's the same with an animal, same with a new dog, a new cat, a new horse. But you can also help beings that are already here to help them feel safe and secure in their environment. So it's my favorite. Well, thank you, everybody. If anybody else has anything to share, I'm going to put that information in the chat. Yep. Yes, Carrie.
I just have a little chuckle is that thinking about, my dog's a border collie, but she doesn't have a tail. And so she's always turning her butt more to me than the front. And so this is like a perfect hole because it's easy to access that with her turning her rear end more towards me. And that would be fun to play around with. So thank you.
Oh, I think that's a great idea, Carrie, because I know sometimes the dogs will almost back up into us.
Oh, did he?
And to be able to put your hand on that hip,
huh?
to put your hand on that hip and reach forward to the opposite. And also, I have a woman I'm working with who has a doggy daycare, and we were talking about some things about the dogs and wanting to make them feel more safe and secure. And she said, sometimes I don't feel comfortable always putting my face close to their head. So if they back up towards you, just kind of sliding forward and doing this hold from the rear is a really, really great safe position. So thank you for that. Isn't it great? This is why we're a group. We all think of these things in all these different ways. So thank you, everybody, for joining. I put all that information in the chat. If you want to cut and paste that for yourselves, I'd love you to do that. This replay will be on the Jin Shin Jyutsu for Animals web, the YouTube page. Will have the replay up in the next day or so you can watch it again and practice.
And Jennifer, Adele's got a question or her hand raised.
Oh, yes, Adele.
Yes, I just wanted to say, I think we know all of these folks, but if I'd like to encourage you to go to that YouTube station, and if you subscribe and click on notifications, then you'll get the notifications of when the study group is happening. It's the first and third Thursdays of the month, 8 o'clock Eastern.
Perfect.
And yeah, and if you're new to the group, I don't know that anyone is, but if you put your email in the chat as well, you'll get our other notifications. So thanks, beautiful Jen.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks, Adele. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for coming. And yeah, get in touch with us if you have any questions. We love working with you. Have a good night, everybody.